Hello crafty friends, it's Sharon Luska here from My Crafty Greetings, and we're here for the Team Tiny Spring Flowers or Flowers Hop. I'm not sure what it is, but I was so excited. Oh my goodness. If there's one thing that I love, it's paper flowers. These are all flowers that I've made, minus one or two that are from my friend Kathy. She's really good at making paper flowers too. And I was excited to share, and I thought, boy oh boy, there's a Kathy creation. Boy oh boy, would it ever be fun to show you guys all the different things that you can make with flowers. Whether you have traditional paper flowers or some of the more unique supplies like crepe paper. Okay, oops, my light fell down. Stick that back up there. Anyways, you don't need tons and tons of dies, a few die sets, but there are some unique die sets out there that can do some pretty cool things, and you can also hand cut flowers as well. So I'm going to add on to this hop by doing a little series on flowers and floral cards so that you can see some of the different things that I've come up with for making flowers as embellishments in my card making life, because it's something that I really enjoy having on hand and does tend to make things a lot easier when I am making cards. And here we go. And this is the Sizzix Triplets flower set number 2, and I'm using a couple of sculpting tools. I found them really handy and useful in doing this, and they give great flower shapes when you use them to break down the fibers of the paper and bending the paper in different shapes. And the thing that you want to remember when you're sculpting your paper flowers is that it helps to work on both sides and then to treat each petal as something individual. And as I'm going through each of these, I really want you guys to see what's possible and what you can really make. I have some more flowers that I'm going to show a little bit later, or you saw in the pile in the beginning, that are actually made out of different colors than just the yellow that I did here. I don't know, it's just lots of fun. And there's so many things that you can do with the flower shapes, or even if you only have scalloped circles, you can still make some pretty nice flowers out of scalloped circles. So I was just showing there, this is another type of Sizzix die set here that does this particular flower and the next flower that I'll be working on. Oh, there it is again. The Stephanie Bernard sets, they're fantastic, and it really doesn't matter what dies you have for flowers or what punches you have for flowers. There's always so much more that you can do with those flowers than just the basic punch it out and stick it on your paper. And I don't know why, when I was early on in crafting, I always felt so dissatisfied punching it out flat and then just sticking it to my page. It always felt like it was short of something. And so I bought flourish dies and I bought leaf dies, and thinking that that was the real problem. And what I found out since then is that it's actually the dimension. If you're going to add some dimension to your flowers, that's going to make all the difference in the world. So maybe you don't have the tools like mine. Here's another trick you can use. Spray those punch outs or die cuts or hand cuts, whatever you're using. Spray it with a little bit of water and crunch those babies up. And when you unfurl them, you'll get a very neat technique. And I'll do this here. Now, best advice, leave it a little bit to dry and maybe do a little bit less water than I did. But it almost makes the paper like a little bit like paper mache, where you can take it and make all kinds of different textures and shapes, and you can ruffle it up, and if you want to, you can actually do a little bit finer sculpting than what I've done here with these flowers. You'll see that there's some pink ones too, where I've two-toned the flowers using the larger one and the smaller one. So again, here you can take a rounded nib end on something and push it in and give the flower a cup shape. That would be really neat. And then if you want to, I don't know whether this is kind of ruching, maybe ruche those petals after you've sprayed them. And again, this is another one that you can do with just a scallop circle. Give it a little twist at the bottom and then let that set up. Now, I had gone ahead and done a little bit of ink blending on these two flowers just to differentiate the lighter center yellow to the darker center yellow. And then this is the flower that I ruched, and as I'm unfolding that, you can see the dramatic effect that that makes. And there's the pink flowers that I was talking about in a different color. You can see how different colors change the look. And then I also added another die set to that to give it a different appearance. So this is a Cherry Lynn Shasta Daisy die, and it is a favorite in my stash. It cuts out a whole pile of different sized kind of daisy pieces all at the same time. And if you cut them up, this is going to give you another style. Now, I brought my glue back from South Carolina, and as we traveled through the mountains, because it was laying on its side, my poor glue bottles exploded in this bag. And luckily, I did not have it in my overnight bag without the extra plastic bag on. But if you're going through the mountains, make sure that you keep your bottles standing up. So what am I doing? What am I doing? Seriously. No, what I'm doing is layering over these pieces here to fill them in the full flower ring. And then I'm just going to show you here that even if you have one of those big Marvy daisy punches, you know what, that still works too. Use that as well. And it's going to give a little bit of a different center, but once you cut those extra pieces up to give it like a, I don't know what they call those types of daisies that have the really curly edges, but anyways, it'll give you a totally different look from what the original daisy looked like. And so I'm just piling them up here. There is 3 double sets in these, and then all you're going to do is hold on tight to the center, and you're just going to work all those little tiny petal pieces. And don't worry if one falls out, nobody's going to notice. But as you rumple them up, they end up having this really cool look to them. And you can do this with a multitude of different colors too. If you wanted to do this with a yellow or a hot pink, you know, whatever it is that you want to do it with, a really cool idea to do with your flowers. So I'm going to rumple up the one too that we did with the punch set, and you'll see it ends up giving a very similar effect. So anyways, just quickly here, I'm going to add this 3D. This is actually 3D fabric paint. So what I'm doing is those little clusters that are in the center of most of those daisies. So I'm using up some old heat embossed backgrounds that I had finished with some ink, and decided that, you know, they've sat in my stash for far too long and I've got to use them up. And then I also found some old flourishes, you know, the ones that were in the black plastic die cuts, and they had the foam on them. So I used that on some shiny silver cardstock, and I got out these little teeny tiny strips of little teeny tiny rhinestones, and I thought, gee, I wonder what that would look like if I was to layer them on top. And it is starting to have an effect that made me quite excited. So I've also pulled out this congratulations die, and I am going to be layering that over a silver piece of cardstock here too. And I was just showing my fun foam, or not fun foam, what is it, packing foam. I use that to dab off the extra glue as well, so that when I'm putting things together, there's not glue all over the place, although you could see very clearly that I had a lot of glue on my fingers. So I also have in my stash a triangle die punch, and it gives these really nice deep banner ends that I really enjoy. And I'm just going to be gluing all of my little pieces in place here. And so anyways, Team Tiny, I just wanted to say this is a Team Tiny project. If you look at the hashtag in my title, you can go ahead and follow along to the other hopper or the other stops on the hop. And please show my fellow team members some love. If you haven't subscribed to them, subscribe to them again. That little contraption to the right of me is actually a Xyron refill. And I use that very frequently because we don't always have easy access to the stick-it papers and things like that. So I will put it on the back of cardstock and punch it out. Every time I see somebody use those Xyrons and they're putting their one little thing through a big hunk of that sticky paper, I just cringe. So anyways, I'm adding a little bit of extra rhinestones just to follow along the edge of that watercolor paper that has the white heat embossing and inked background on it. And there is my card. I'm going to be going quickly through just the card examples of how to use these flowers, because the point is more so how to make the different flowers, not so much how to go ahead and make more cards, which I'll show you more videos of how to make cards. But anyways, same thing, Shasta Daisy punched out in pink. And what I decided is that I wanted the centers to be a little bit darker. So I am using a little bit of Distress Oxide, and I'm going to take these Shasta Daisies and I'm actually going to put a score line of sorts down the center of each petal, and then I'm going to pinch them all in. Now, if you don't have a little tool like I had, a little bit of a dull steak knife, or if you have a letter opener, that would work too. I'm going to stack these all up in pairs as well. And then I'm going to take each set of petals and stack those up into a total layer of 3. So that's six flower sets all total. And I'm going to give it a really good firm push in the center. And those are the flowers that I have there. And I also did a white set. So this is a piece of just plain old purple Michaels paper, and I took a texture plate from the candle making department, inked it up with eggplant, and just added some texture to the edge. And then that's my homemade Sharon drops that I put all over the edge of the paper too. I just dabbed it on. This is one of those backgrounds that I'm using up with Distress Oxide ink and white heat embossing on watercolor paper. And of course, you knew I was going to use it. Here's my packing foam sheets, and I'm just going to give that a little lift here, little added extra dimension. And you saw in the last video that I was testing out the Tombow mono multi glue with that the sheet of packing foam. So I will let you know in my next video how that turned out. Now, I had ended up with some white edges. I just inked them up, and then I also took some of my Sharon drops in purple, filled the centers of these flowers, and once they dried, I wanted to get them a little bit darker. So I just got a little lipstick applicator here and added some ink to it. So this is multiple layers of my Happy Birthday die, and then I'm taking ribbon here, just thin ribbon. I don't know if you have this in your stash too, but I have plenty of it. And I like to fold it in half and then do a deep angled cut on the end of it. And it makes these beautiful loose leafy bits. And of course, if they get folded in the envelope, they unfold just as easily. And I really think that they give a neat dimension. So I'm putting this little cluster of flowers here together. And I'm going to add just a tiny bit more. Now, as I was holding that, I finally thought, you know what, if I had reversible tweezers, that would have held it for me no problem. And I had the brilliant idea that I would maybe use the reversible tweezers to put down these rhinestones, the little square rhinestones, and not so much. So I'm just going to put those on my paper and scatter them about. And there is my card minus a little bit of deep angled cutting on this final edge here. That card's for my Annie Gwen. Don't tell anybody. It's her birthday card. I hope she loves it. Okay, as you're looking, I'm just going to say again, Team Tiny, channels under 1,000 don't have commercials, and we do a hop monthly. If anyone is interested in joining us on this hop, please leave me a comment below and I will get you in touch with Catherine Kelly. She's our team leader. She's absolutely fabulous, keeps us organized, on track, and doing the right thing. And it's very easy. It's a hashtag hop, so it's not as stressful as your traditional hops. So you can see here I just took some black Versamark ink and a rubber stamp that's got skinny lines on it. I'm not sure where I got it, but I do love it. And I'm just adding some accent strips of inking here with the clear embossing powder. I don't know why I love clear embossing on black paper. That shiny plus the matte look is so appealing to me. Now I had a sheet of true Japanese paper, and it was very oriental looking, and I thought, boy, you know what, that would look cool with those flowers, because I'm sure that I've seen flowers like that done in jade in the Chinese restaurant close to us here. So I'm just going to add a couple little ticks of tape here, and I'm going to put this ribbon on as an accent at the end here. And a skinnier piece of ribbon. Now if you were to look at this real close, you'd notice that one is grosgrain ribbon and the other one is actually a cotton ribbon. Nobody's gonna notice, and you know what, if they're holding a beautiful card like this, I would dare them to say anything about it. So I'm gonna sneak a little bit of packing foam sheet again behind this, and ATG, a bunch of lines on the back so I can stick that down. Double check and make sure I got it facing the right way. And I've got a Thinking of You sentiment that comes from a Hero Arts stamp set. There's two, I think, Hero Arts sentiment stamp sets out that are absolutely fantastic. I know they have tons more than that, but these are the two that I always seem to use. And then what I did was just line this up on top and put the punch over it, and now I'm sliding the white sentiment flag back, and I've got some ATG on there, and I'm going to layer it so that there's a little bit of show all the way down the top and the bottom, as well as the end of the banner. And I'm just going to cut that off to the right length so that it ends underneath the flowers there. Get that stuck down, and I'm going to cut off these extra ends. I was wondering if it was going to ruin the card cutting them off, but I'm actually glad I did. And I picked up these neat gold kind of pearls from the dollar store, and I've stuck them in. If you're from America and you ever get a chance to come to Canada, you have to go to Dollarama. There is a crazy amount of crafting stuff at our stores. So I added a sequin to the back of that that pearl. It was way too tiny for the center of this flower. So what I did was just put silicone wax on the tip of my pick it up pen, and then I'm just able now to pick those up and set them in the centers on the glue. It's another type of thing that you can use for picket sticks. I love making picket sticks myself, and that's my finished card. Just quickly too, I wanted to thank you if you have subscribed, and if you haven't, what's holding you up? Come on, click that button. It's not going to cost you anything. Anyways, so now while I was inking up those flowers, I started looking at my scratch piece of paper and thought, I shouldn't throw that out. I should do something with it, because it is really rather pretty. And I'm taking some of this Distress Oxide in something preserves. I don't know what it's called, but anyways, I think it's Catherine Kelly's favorite color. I should pay more attention, but I do know it's her favorite color. Actually, you know what? I should send her this card. This is a really awesome card. And I think I should send it to her because it's her colors. Anyways, I grabbed some washi tape. That's what you can see the strips of. And naturally, fighting with this iPad, I did not hit the switch properly, or it decided to defy me when I said please record, and we missed the part that had the washi tape on it. But here we are. I've glued most of the flowers down, and then a few of them I popped up on little chunks of foam tape, and I'm just taking some black, I don't know what these, they're again like Nouveau drops, black drops, and now I'm just going to scatter some pearls down around the flowers. I always like that look, even if you've got a bouquet and there's baby's breath around your daisies. So another Hero Art sentiment here, and I'm stamping that out, and it says amazing friend. And I've added a little bit of glossy black paper there, and I'm sticking that down, and I'm just going to hide the end of it with another gold embellishment here, and I'm cutting that extra end off. And then there's a little tiny hello die cut here in gold that I'm going to be adding on top of that. So now it says hello amazing friend, with my very cool save the extra throwaways and turn it into a card. So, but at least it gives you an idea that you can use those daisies flat, you can use them folded, you can use them cut. I didn't show you, you can spray them with water and actually twist up the petals, and that gives a unique look too. But thank you so much for joining me again today. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see y'all later.